I ask you a question? Are you ready to get and keep momentum in your business? I hope so, because it's Penny Elliott here, your host to having the perfect mix of the woo with the do. If you're ready to create the life that you want through a business designed by you, then tune in. Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Get Momentum for Online Entrepreneurs podcast with me, your host, Penny Elliott. And this is a show where we match the woo with the do. And so that's your perfect mix of mindset and strategy to have oodles of energy and wealth productivity in your life and business. And today I have an amazing woman, Lorraine, all the way from the UK. She's just wrangled her children into bed so that she can then join us. So I really thank you very much for spending this next a little bit of time with us and sharing your story. So welcome. Tell us about yourself, who you serve, who you help, and what's your story.
Thank you so much for having me, Penny. It's really awesome to be here. So I am Lorraine Dallmeier. I run Formula Botanica. We're an online training school for people who want to learn how to make their own cosmetics. I've been doing this for 7 years now, and we have 12,500 students in 176 countries around the world, which is really awesome. Yes. And loads of our students have created their own brands. They're selling successfully all around the world. You know, the smallest ones sell at markets or they sell just to their friends and family. And the largest ones, in fact, the largest one has just raised $7 million in investment funding and is being rolled out in 1,800 targets. So we serve women who want to start their own indie beauty brand, or anyone who wants to learn how to formulate for themselves, which is really exciting and awesome.
Very cool. I think that's all little girls' dreams, isn't it? You know, we used to puddle in our mums' cosmetics. Even my little boy, he's 2.5, he like makes soup with his like parts of his dinner and his water, and you know, always mixing up concoctions, which is quite revolting, but I can see where, you know, I can see how this then transpires into making a business. Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I have 40 staff. We sold $5 million worth of courses last year. So we are on a fast track at the moment to 8 figures. Yeah, it's really exciting at the moment.
Oh, wow. So we're all about like creating consistent clients here. Like, what is your secret sauce or strategy that you can share with us?
Oh gosh, I have so many of them. I'll just pick a few and I'll go over them briefly because I know we don't want to be here for the next few hours. I think the first one is content. So I have always been a really prolific content creator. I built my first website in 1995 when I was a geeky teenager. You know, I love blogging. I've been blogging since 2001. So when I started with Formula Botanica, for me, it was all about just keeping that going with content. And, you know, I think the first month or so that I was running Formula Botanica, I think we had about 1,000 hits on the website. Now we get over 500,000 page views a month. Wow. So that gives you an idea of just how that consistency has paid off in terms of content marketing. The other thing has been building a brand. So it's all about the brand building for me. I don't cut corners. I build really, really solid foundations in my business. And that means that people are attracted to the brand. They want to be part of the community. They feel the authority and the credibility. They want to be part of it because it's exciting to watch. And people instantly recognize me when I'm on stage, obviously pre-COVID. You know, I'm always in my green dresses. You know, the brand stands for itself. And I think the third thing is launching. You've got to launch if you've got a product or you've got a service. And we've been doing that very successfully through our term times and through our big enrollment periods now for 7 years. And it works really, really well. So those 3 things really. And I suppose visibility, let's throw that one into. You've got to be visible to run a successful business too. A bit like what you and I are doing right at this moment.
Amazing. So consistency, brand authority, or becoming your authority leader. And that doesn't mean like total domination. I think that means just keeping consistent and being an authority in your space, and that will grow. Yep. Launching.
Yep.
You don't want to be the world's best kept secret.
No, you don't. You've got to put yourself out there.
And that comes down to being visible as well. Yes. Brilliant.
Exactly.
Also, I was listening to something on Clubhouse this morning, and I was thinking about how visibility used to just be live videos. But what you've shown, and I thought, Clubhouse is great for the people that don't want to do lives. Because I used to not do it because I was like, I have to go and put some makeup on. I can't be bothered. I used to think, it's so much easier for men. All they need to do is this with their hair and that's it.
So unfair.
Yeah, I know, but I love how you've said that you've just continuously blogged, and that doesn't require a live element at all. So being visible doesn't mean live video and doing like dances in your lounge and your slippers on TikTok, right? You've just shown that you can build an you're almost 8-figure business through that consistency of blogging to start with. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You put yourself out there in a format that you're comfortable with, but you have to put yourself out there. So for us, I started blogging. I have a podcast as well. We get 10,000 downloads a month. I only put out one episode. So it's, even though it's not hugely consistent, it's obviously very successful. I do videos, I do live streams. I'm on Clubhouse too. It all adds up, and you're visible in different ways. People don't necessarily have to see you for you to be visible. You just have to put yourself out there and be prepared to have opinions, and be prepared for other people to just sort of come to you and be attracted to you for what you stand for. And that's really scary in the beginning, and it's scary for a lot of people, but you have to break through that barrier and just do it.
Amazing. So we also like to cut through a bit of the BS on this podcast as well, because it's not all about a straight line to the top. 7 years ago, you were like, yes, I'm going to be there, and that's it. So is there something that you've hit a major barrier that you've had to call like BS on yourself? Like you said, you have to be visible and you just have to keep doing it, even though it's scary. But is there something else that you could share with our listeners that they could learn from?
Yes, absolutely. Formula Botanica is a fairly sizable enterprise now. As I said, I have 40 staff, but 7 years ago, it was just me. And I wore every hat in the business. I was doing customer service, delivering our courses, doing HR, doing finance, doing social media, doing marketing, everything. And obviously, the growth meant that I had to hire people. But in the beginning, I very much treated my business as a hobby, because that's how I have to, just for full disclosure, I actually bought Formula Botanica. I was one of its first students, and I bought it on maternity leave as a side hustle that I would run alongside my day job. And it was very much treated that way by everyone who helped me with the purchase. I was there with my toddler and my 8-month-old baby in tow buying this business. And everyone was like, oh, it'd be a really nice little hobby for you, Lorraine. My family, my in-laws, my accountant, everyone was a bit like that. And of course, no one ever foresaw that I would be 7 years later, having sold millions and millions of courses and having this big team working for me. But because of that, I very much started with this mindset of, it's small, it's insignificant, doesn't make much money, it's just a little hobby. And I treated my business that way as well. I really wish I hadn't. It's such a shame looking back at that now. I really wish that I just sort of said, you know what, I'm going to turn this into something successful. Nothing's going to stop me from the start. But it meant that when people came to me, when I was looking to hire, I was always like, I'm so grateful that you'd even consider working for me, which is a terrible, terrible recruitment approach. Don't ever do that, whatever you do. And so I hired a lot of the wrong people. And I freely admit this, it's something I've heard from a lot of business owners when you first start out. If you haven't got any experience in this and you need help, don't just take the first person who comes along and feel grateful that they want to come and work for you. Do it properly. Treat yourself like a massive corporate and just sort of sit down and go, right, prove to me that you're the right person to come and work here. Jump over some hurdles and demonstrate to me that you're the right person. And yeah, I wish I'd done that. So I'm calling BS on myself for that one 7 years ago.
Do you know, I think it's something like 68% of businesses go under in the first 18 months from poor hiring.
Wow, that is huge. I'm not surprised, actually, given my experiences.
I don't think there's anyone that hasn't been burnt. And usually, you're growing at such a rate that you're just plugging holes to take it off your plate so that you can actually go to sleep or do the next thing. And I think that's where a lot of businesses fall down. They pay too much for people to do too little, with too little direction. You're laughing because it's exactly right. Huh?
Yeah, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Yeah. Actually, maybe we could make t-shirts that would probably sell quite well. 68% of them.
Please don't.
No, it's a slightly negative connotation. So this is a really pertinent question for you, that maybe we'll put a cap on it for like 5 minutes. How do you practice self-care as a successful entrepreneur? I'm assuming it's lots of masks and products and...
Well, yeah, I mean, I do get sent an absolute ton of skincare and hair care products. Yeah, I mean, you can see them stood behind me if you're watching the video. It's just, I get sent so many, and it's awesome because I love all of them and I love our graduates. Saying that, for me, self-care is more about just taking some downtime away from the computer and the phone. I'm not very good at it. I will freely admit that. I'm pretty crap at it, actually. But I have 2 little boys. They're almost 8 and 11, and I love just snuggling down with them, reading them a story, which is actually what I was doing right up until the moment we started filming, when I was like, right, bed, get into bed. And it's just so relaxing to do that with them. The other thing I love doing is we purchased our dream home a couple of years ago, which we could do because of the business. And we have 4 acres of land that we're rewilding and turning into this biodiversity wildlife haven. Wow. And I have to give my partner more credit, way more credit than I deserve for anything here. But he's planted up about 50 fruit trees. We've got this amazing diverse orchard with all these apples and pears and plums and green gages and walnuts. And it's really cool. It's starting to really come to fruition. And just going out there and being with the land, basically, and particularly when the sun comes out and the wildflowers all start to come up, it's just stunning. So that's my big thing, really. But I will freely admit I'm crap at self-care because I view the business as inherently part of me, which means I find it very hard to switch off because it is effectively just an extension of me. But on the other hand, I enjoy that, and I derive pleasure from when everyone else logs off from my team. Well, most people anyway. I know that there are no meetings, there are no questions coming in. It's just me, and that's when the creativity really starts to flow, and I get such a kick out of that. So actually, for me, that is self-care as well, because I can just be by myself and just let all the creativity out.
Amazing. And have you, as a slightly off topic, but I guess on topic for today's times, have you found it even harder to like put this baby, your business baby, to bed during COVID, when you haven't got the need to do the school run, do all the external activities that force you to leave the house or leave your office?
Yes and no. I mean, I've always worked from home. So my business has been remote since its inception, really. And my team all works remote. They're in 12 different countries. So I've always I have this lovely office. I've sort of underfloor heating and triple glazing and beautiful views out over onto the hills. And I sit here and I'm like, oh, I love it. But I guess COVID hasn't really changed a hell of a lot for me, apart from the fact that we've grown phenomenally. I mean, we've grown by 85% in the last year. I hired 25 new staff last year.
Oh my word.
It was insane. It still is to a certain degree because we're actually still recruiting. We haven't finished. We have all these positions we need to fill to handle the growth and to forecast for the next stage of growth as well. So yes and no. I mean, I do the school run. I do the pickup every day. My partner doesn't work, so he takes the kids to school in the morning when they were going to school. He's doing all the homeschooling now, thankfully, because honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do it all at the same time. So yes, it has changed, but on the other hand, no, it really hasn't. I'm still doing the same thing I was before.
Oh, that's good. So the other thing, and I asked you this before we started recording, it was quite a hilarious answer. What's the most woo thing that you've ever done? And did it work?
I am the least woo person you will ever meet. So I'm a hardcore scientist. I find it hilarious. I'm in this mastermind group with my business besties. I love them to bits. And some of them are super, super woo. And like, if I'm having a bad day, they'll be like, Lorraine, I'll do Reiki from a distance for you. Or I'm going to ask my healer to do this for you. And I'm just sat there going, okay, I don't know what to say to this. I do appreciate the sentiment, but it's totally lost on me. So I'm not really that woo, to be honest. I am very much about sort of barefaced facts and very practical in how I work. And, I love that because on the other hand, as you can imagine, working in the organic skincare space and hair care space, there are a lot of people in our community who just love the woo, and they're all about the crystal healing and the homeopathy and the aromatherapy. And I just sometimes have to sit there sort of biting on my knuckles. And I love the fact that we make space for that.
Yeah.
You can still embrace the science and the woo at the same time, and that's totally cool. But yeah, I'm the hardcore scientist in the corner, sort of going, I don't know what to say.
And fair enough. Everyone needs to have the different ends of the spectrum.
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly.
You keep everyone in balance. So what's your go-to workout or way that you get your body moving? And
At the moment, it's gardening. Actually, I'm out there fighting with the weeds, sort of digging up soil. I have done a lot of running in the past as well. The last year that's gone out the window for various health reasons as well, actually. So at the moment, I'm in the sunshine, I'm digging, and I'm loving it. And actually, it's a really nice way of just sort of getting your fingers in the soil and feeling a bit more grounded. Maybe that's my woo, actually.
There's your woo.
I found it.
You've got it. And so if you could go back to the start of your journey, and I think you kind of alluded to this earlier, what would you tell your young self? Would it be, don't treat this as a hobby, or would it be something else?
Yes, it would totally be that. It would be, I would be standing there going, okay, you've got something insanely amazing on your hands here. Don't treat it as a hobby, but also start to understand the life-changing component of what you do. It took me many years to realize that, actually. It took one of my external contractors to sort of sit me down and go, Lorraine, you are changing thousands of lives here, for me to actually realize that we were changing thousands of lives. I just overlooked it. And sometimes you're so close to your business that you don't see it yourself. And I wish that I had grasped that fact a little bit earlier as well. And I say this to everyone now. If you want a successful business of any kind, change someone's life in a tiny way or a big way, it doesn't matter. Just make a change. And if you have that, you have a winning formula, because not only do people then love what you do because you've helped them change their life, but they'll also keep coming back to you for more, and they'll become your biggest ambassadors. And yeah, it took me years to realize that. And I wish I could go back in time actually and tell myself that.
Yeah, because I guess in your context, it's highly true, because you're giving people, especially during this time, something to do at home, to stop the boredom. We've just been put into lockdown for a week, 7 days here in New Zealand on the back of 2 weeks ago. And it really is oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I can't sit on my laptop with my little one. He just jumps all over it. It is that, and the phone is really works against his love language of spending every single second with me. And so it's impossible. And I just thought, oh my goodness. So, if you even think about it in such a small context like that, you've saved the mental health of so many people in this last year by giving them something to do.
Yeah.
And a purpose, and isn't that wonderful?
It is. It's humbling, actually. And when lockdown started here in the UK in March last year, and we've been in lockdown for quite a lot longer than you have.
Yeah, I know.
So it's just been really hard for a lot of people. But the first thing I did was I pivoted, because I said, right, I don't quite know what's going to happen here. I know that the business is very resilient. We have lots of financial resources. We're good. No one has to be laid off. No one has to take a pay cut. We are fine. Don't worry about that. And then I said, wouldn't it be awesome if we made a short, small course that we could push out immediately that would help people? Because I went to our community and said, how can we help you? And they said, just teach us more formulation. We want to learn more. We're all at home. Help us. So we created this course. We dropped literally everything we were doing, and we pushed out this course. And last year, with that course and various others we taught, we trained over 140,000 people for free.
Wow.
For free. Yeah. I mean, obviously we sold a lot of courses as well, but for me, it was about the free training that went out to help people. And we had so many amazing responses from people. And a lot of those people then obviously came on to become paying customers and paying students after that. But even if they didn't, I loved the fact that we could help them in such a hard time, because anyone can formulate, anyone can make their own beauty products. And I want to teach the world to formulate. That's my big mission. You can make your own clothes, you can cook your own, grow your own food. And you can make your own beauty products. You don't need to be a chemist. You don't need to be stood in a lab in a white lab coat. And I love the fact that we've been empowering hundreds of thousands of people to start that journey. So yeah, it's been really fun actually over lockdown. Really hard work because, massive growth, lots of new people, huge demand for what we do, but so rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, incredible. So how can people get in touch with you to learn more about formulations, to learn more about what you do and get involved?
So we're over at formulabotanica.com. We have a free online formulation course on there where you can watch me play around with lots of ingredients as well if you want to come and take that. Formula Botanica is on every platform at Formula Botanica. We're super active on Instagram. We've got over 80,000 followers there. You can also come and follow me on Instagram at Lorraine Dallmeier, where I talk more about running my business and sustainability and things like that. That's it. We'd love to come and see you, and if you want to come and train with us for free, we have lots of free materials.
Amazing. Well, we'll put all of that in the show notes so that you guys can click on the link and go straight there and jump on in, especially because this morning, and I'm not sure when this episode is going to come out, but they said there's a fourth wave going through America, so we're still in this, so so this is a great thing for you to do for your own self-care, is to activate your brain, learn something that's completely different to what you're probably doing day to day, like washing, home care, trying to fit in work. Let's just add some more fun to your day.
Exactly.
I think it's really important because a lot of people come to me about like, how do you have so much energy to do things that you do? And it's because the mundane is boring, right? So if you put something fun into it, like learning how to formulate some new products for yourself, it's going to give yourself a real sense of self-worth. And I think as adults, we really lose that.
Yeah, I agree. And the other really wonderfully heartwarming part of formulation is that you can surround yourself with all these amazing botanical ingredients. So you'll have all your butters and waxes and oils and plant waters and botanical extracts and herbs, and it is so much fun when you surround yourself by all these amazing fragrant ingredients. And that's really what gets most people started with formulation as well, because they just love the fact that they get to play with all these cool botanicals. So yeah, what have you got to lose? It might be something rewarding that you can add to your skill set.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Okay, and so as my last soundbite for all of my podcast guests, what is your favorite one-liner that you give yourself each day to get momentum in your business or your life?
So I think I'm going to channel my inner Finding Nemo here and basically say, just keep swimming, because that's all you can do. And on the days when it's going well, you just keep swimming. And on the days when it's not going so well, you just keep swimming as well.
Yeah. Amazing. Hey, well, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing just like your transformational type journey where I think a lot of us or a lot of listeners have started, as a hobby, and it doesn't mean it needs to stay like that. And and you've got kids, you've got the whole package, and you're still doing it. So what an inspiration for everyone.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Great. And if you guys are listening and you think this is amazing, then make sure you share it with this episode with someone, or leave a review, because then that shows people who don't know you or me or Lorraine something about the podcast, and they could pick this up, go with it, and be the next cosmetics brand that takes the world by storm. So you just never know. So make sure that you share and let us know how you found the episode. Thanks so much. If you love the woo with the do and you want to dive deeper into how you too can get and keep momentum in your business, then join thousands of other online entrepreneurs like yourself and head on over to Amazon and grab a copy of my book, Get Momentum, your ultimate guide to create 100K in 100 days without fear, overwhelm, and burnout. And while it's being delivered to you, you'll have time to leave a 5-star review of the podcast before you head on over to the next episode.